Gucci. Wake up, I gotta go get it. Wake up, wake up, I gotta.
Oh, hey, College Couch Podcast, episode 8. It's your boy Javaris, and you know who else is here with me? Talk to me.
Your boy Stackz, we checking in this thing, man. Woo, 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 woo. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying? Hey, we've been going strong. We've been going strong. College sports and college football has been interesting to say the least these last 8 weeks.
mm-hmm.
So it's been fun. It's been fun. But before we get started with
Oh
anything, I just
God.
want to say my boys won them more today. Boy got darn eagle. That's all I got to say about that.
Oh my goodness.
Hey
Yeah, I guess y'all had to handle business against Mississippi State anyway.
man, hey, last time
A
I
win is
checked,
a win, I
a
guess.
W is a W, and players gonna make plays when they supposed to make plays, and they doing what they supposed to do.
Yeah, I mean, y'all look pretty solid. I will say that y'all did look pretty solid.
I'm
But
just saying. But
yeah,
anyway, that wasn't
gotta
on
give.
our slate of games. I just had to big up my boys, because
I mean,
we've
you
been
gotta give
struggling.
credit when it's due. When you handle business, you handle business. So you gotta
That's
stand on
right.
business. But week 9 of college football, man. Listen, we are getting to that point where it's kind of like you got to start giving that farewell treatment to college football because it's about to wrap. But
Yeah,
man,
it's getting to the nitty gritty now. Now it's
yeah,
like the losses mean more now. Like,
yeah, very true, very
every
true.
game means more now, because
Hmm.
everything should be cleaned up now. All that extra stuff in the beginning of the season where you struggling, you trying to find your identity, that's over with. You gotta have your identity in place right now. Like, every game counts. I mean,
Hmm.
every game counts in general, but now it's
Yes,
important because you lose late. That's your season almost. You know what I'm saying? Unless you can pull a miracle and somebody else loses or whatever, every game is more vital than the next. Like, it's always, we always experience this, what I'm saying, with college sports, late games, everybody hitting their stride. So,
mhm,
yeah, it's important.
very true. I mean, I listen. That was perfect. What was that mean? You say perfect down to the last minute detail. I can't agree more. So no, honestly, I mean, again, this is where everything counts. Like if it one slip up and you're just out of that top 25, I
Right.
mean, you can win your 6 games. You can win, whatever it takes for you to, be bowl eligible. But that loss can literally define how your season went. Yeah, you can go on to a bowl game, win your bowl game, but if you lose late in the season like this, it really means nothing. Honestly, it
Right.
really means
College,
nothing.
college football is one of the only sports I know
Hmm.
where if you lose 2 games, it's considered a bad season and you cannot compete for a championship.
Yep.
College basketball, you lose a few games here and there, you good to go. You still
Right.
can win a championship. Baseball, you still can win a championship. NFL, you can still win a championship. Everything, you can really win a championship without, what I'm saying, with losing a couple games, stumbling a little bit. Not college football.
Hmm.
No, no, no.
You're right.
You
Yeah.
lose one, you start sweating.
Yeah.
You lose that sweat, you lose that second one, you might well just play for a bowl at this point because you ain't going to the championship.
Facts.
But
Facts.
that all may change next year.
It
So we gotta
could.
watch it. We gotta watch it.
Hey, you're right. Coming up on 10 teams in the college football playoffs
Right.
format, should be really exciting. Definitely brings a lot more, really a lot more diversity in a way
Right.
to the playoff
Right.
picture. I mean, we can see teams who really don't get a chance to really make that
Right.
that
Right.
mark. So
Like,
it's
look,
really
like
gonna be.
if we had that 10-team system right now,
Mhm.
Oregon State would be in the conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and that's big. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's been unheard of. Like, it's
Yeah.
either you was undefeated and you went, or you made the playoffs and you went in the top with the top four. But the fact that you can be number 8 now, number 9 now, number 10, to me, it just makes the sport so much more exciting because teams get to see their teams compete at the highest level. Where we, like I know one year UCF was undefeated, and they weren't, they were robbed of the opportunity to play for a championship. My opinion, they still should have been able. You go undefeated, that's no small feat. You know, some people were saying that they don't think that whatever. They went undefeated. You
Mm-hmm.
don't get to pick. You know what I'm saying? Who's in front of you? Whoever's in front of you, you beat them. You know what I'm saying? And they did that. So just like that, I think that if you can manage to get in that top 8, top 10, you should at least have a chance to compete. To me, 2 games don't justify you as being a sorry team. But in
Right.
college football, lasts forever. It's been like that. So, you know.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, yeah, man. Again, this is definitely an exciting time, especially with the season about to come to a close. But man, let's get into this slate of games on tap this week. We got, oh man, this one right here is a personal favorite of mine. I've actually had the opportunity to experience this game in person. It's the Magic City Classic, baby.
Yes,
Alabama
sir.
State versus Alabama A&M. Uh, Also, we got Duke and Louisville, as well as Georgia and Florida. But let's roll back and go to this Alabama A&M game, bro. Again, personal favorite of mine. Experienced the Magic City Classic in person. What? Goodness grief! I sound old when I say this. I was in the 10th grade of high school, bro.
But you're ancient. You're ancient.
Bro, I feel old. 10th, I was in. I want to say 10th grade, but it may have been a. No, it was 10th grade. It was 10th. My goodness, that's scary. That's scary. But man, I have stories for days. I may have to get into that a little bit later on. But anyway, man, what a game. Final score 31-16, Alabama State's way. Let me first of all, we got to give our player make plays acknowledgement before before we get into this recap. Wideout Keyshawn Johnson made one of the most craziest catches that I have probably seen in quite a while. So, game about to go into the half, right? Uh, Quarterback Damon Stewart rolls out. They got maybe like 4 seconds left. Rolls out, looks downfield. Keyshawn is probably guarded by maybe 3 or 4 Alabama A&M defenders, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bro, Damon launches that ball downfield, and I mean, I don't know how Johnson came down with the ball, but bro, it was probably one of the most insane catches that I've seen in a while, especially to go into the half.
Right, right.
That's
And with a name like Keyshawn Johnson, he just ought to. He just ought to.
I'm not gonna
I
lie,
mean,
that's
I mean, you named after a legend.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? You
yeah,
you got you gotta make spectacular plays like that.
right.
Players make plays, and players with player name
But
make plays.
But what's crazy is to go into the half. That's pretty ballsy of Alabama
That that's
State.
that's
I'm not
very
gonna lie.
bold. That's very bold. That's very
Yeah,
bold.
that's
That
pretty
that's
ballsy. But
that's
I know
that's
that
hey, I want to send a statement.
right.
Make a statement. Send a
But
message that we
d-
ain't come to lose. We
yeah,
ain't
but
come to
at the
lose.
same
You
time,
know.
Alabama State, Alabama A&M are rivals. Like
Right, right.
this
That's what I'm
is
saying. Like it,
yeah.
that's how rivalry supposed to be played.
Oh
Bump
yeah,
all that that by the book stuff, what they
yeah.
call it. Bump all that. It's rivalry. We trying to beat y'all. We trying to hit y'all in
Hmm.
the mouth. We want to see y'all lose.
Yes.
That's it. We want bragging rights going in next year.
Oh yeah.
That's it. You pride.
Oh
That's
yeah.
pride at that point. You know what I'm saying? Like those type of games, you want to make those type of plays. You
Hmm.
want to draw those things up because I mean, on both sides, it's good for the players. Like it's a
Yeah.
competitive spirit. Like and then the fact that it was you know what I'm saying, a jump ball like that, and he was able to go up and get it like he
Mm-hmm.
was, you know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm going I don't care who you throw at me. That's it's saying that I don't care who you throw at me. We here. We here. We came
Yep.
to win, you know.
Yeah.
So I mean I love it. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Hey, and I gotta shout out Robert McMinn as well, man. Taking the that punt return for a TD as well. I mean, man, from this game itself, I mean, a lot of impact plays on the defensive side on both teams, man. Both defenses really showed out, and I mean, it, that first quarter was really kind of like, okay, like what are you really going to expect in this game? But then I guess Alabama State kind of just kicked the door in and said, okay,
Yeah,
let's stop
they
joking
went
around.
back in the locker room and figured it out. They
Oh
said,
yeah.
okay, all right, you know what I'm saying, let's settle down. It's a
Hmm.
rivalry game. We can't let them, you know what I'm saying, come in here and do us like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like like it's almost like they said, y'all ain't on our level. Let's strap in and let's go. Like, you
Oh
know what I'm
yeah.
saying? And
Oh
that's
yeah.
how I felt.
Hmm. And it's crazy enough. Alabama State's defense is actually nicknamed the Black Swarm, which is probably one of the coolest nicknames I've heard for a defense.
Yeah, with a name like that, you supposed to be making some plays. I mean,
Exactly.
hey, I'm just
Exactly.
saying that's up there with Legion of Boom, if you ask me. You know what
Oh
I'm saying?
yeah.
That's how I
Oh
appreciate.
yeah. And I mean they're now ranked fourth, if I want to say, in the FCS. Uh, and I mean it showed. It definitely showed on Saturday why they should be ranked that high. And I mean,
Right,
and especially when we talked about this Alabama State team a few weeks back when they played Jackson State, we definitely hit on some of the points of how that defense made stands, within the game.
right,
So
right, right,
it just goes to show that they're still making that impact later on in the season
right.
to potentially round out, and they still have to have that SWAC championship. So really looking forward to seeing how that turns out. But it doesn't look like they'll probably end up making it this year, just because Florida A&M is undefeated in the conference and 7-1. So it's right now. I'm looking at the standings. It's probably going to be Florida A&M and Alcorn. So that should definitely be a game. I mean,
Man,
dude.
I'm pretty sure we're gonna be covering and talking
Oh
about
yeah.
that.
Oh yeah. I'm really looking forward to seeing who makes it to the gosh, how did it slip me? And I've covered this game before. The Celebration Bowl in Atlanta in a few weeks or a few months from now. That's always a phenomenal game. But yeah, man. Dude, also, let me just hit on this real quick. I don't know if you've ever been to Birmingham. Well, you probably have because you have
Yeah,
family out
I
that
mean
way.
Alabama is my roots, man.
Right,
You know?
exactly, exactly. Brother, Legion Field in Birmingham, this is probably one of the most legendary stadiums, not only in the state of Alabama, but in my opinion, the country. It seats 72,000, right? Brother, the stadium, from what I'm looking at right now, this game reached 69,210 people, bro.
Yeah, I
That's
mean
just the impact that this game has in the
it's
state
a
of
big
Alabama.
game. It's a
Yeah,
rivalry. It's
yeah.
like I'm gonna tell you like this: the state of Alabama, that's all they know,
Mm-hmm.
football. Like
Yep.
they're one of the only states that I know. Cause I mean I've been places, but the main places I know, cause like I said, Alabama is my roots. That is the only state I know has no NFL team, no professional teams, but all they have is their college sports. And what they mainly focus on is that college football. That's their bread and butter. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they have other sports, things like that, but football in Alabama is religion. They don't they in Alabama they don't ask you. They don't ask you how you doing it. What's your team? That's the first thing. With Auburn, you know what I'm saying? Alabama, are you, you know what I'm saying? Alabama and what are Tuskegee? What are you doing? What who you root for? What colors you standing on? You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely a different energy in the state of Alabama when it comes to football. So for them to be packed out like that, it
Yeah.
doesn't surprise me
Yeah.
because I know the history of Alabama sports in general.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So that's religion for them.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, man, and for a big rivalry game like that, yeah, it's a beautiful thing to
Uh,
see that many people come together and say, hey, we gonna treat this like it's, you know what I'm saying, national TV,
right.
national championship vibes,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So
Absolutely. And I mean, again, this game definitely is definitely one of the games that I really truly look forward to watching even after graduating from high school. You know, I came up under a band director who went to Alabama State, and after he departed from Jonesboro, the school I graduated from, we had a Bethune Cookman graduate come in. So I definitely hold HBCUs near and dear to me because I came up under two HBCU grads. But man, listen, I guess I'll go ahead and tell a story now. So back in high school, I marched in the marching band, and we were going to the Magic City Classic, and we're leaving pretty much at the crack of dawn, maybe like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning to get there, for the parade and stuff like that. And man, I've been literally looking forward to marching in this parade all week leading up to, Saturday. So we get to the school, we pack in, our charter bus or whatnot, and we got everything ready. And bro, I'm sitting here trying to like get everything together. Like I had my uniform, I had my drum, of course. I was big Pookie in them. I played bass drum in high school. So I'm looking for the one thing I need in particular, my drum strap. You know how I strap up.
right.
Bro, I couldn't find my strap in my book bag to save my life. And so the last thing you want to do when you don't have something is tell your section, "Hey, I don't have such and such," because it's not going to be a good thing, and then two, it's not a good look. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody has to be in one accord. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't tell them, like I cannot tell them I don't have my strap. So I get off the bus and I'm just like, I'm dressed in my uniform, all of this, dude. I'm ready to go. And they're like, put your drum on. I'm like, I don't think I can do that. I don't think I can do that. And they're like, well, why not? And they're like, and I'm like, I can't find my strap. And they're like, well, it doesn't look like you're marching tonight. And I'm like, I don't think I am either. And they're like, well, we're gonna have to deal with that. So it was a definitely a it was not a good drive back home, but it was definitely memorable. So what I had to end up doing is just pretty much walking beside the band and pretty much being a water boy that day because I
Oh
didn't have my
man,
strap.
they
Uh,
made you left gate ain't cool though,
yeah,
God.
man, I had to be a water boy for the band because I didn't have my strap. But it was definitely a memorable experience now looking back on it. And dude, I left my strap back at the school in the same place that I normally keep it, but just trying to rush out of there, I couldn't. It was
Right.
horrible. Anyway, about that's enough about my past life. I'm never getting into that again. Let's head over to Duke and Louisville. But brother, let me tell you something real quick. And this is for everybody that's watching or listening to this podcast right now. So Stax and I have a thing that we do. We try to pick our games, right, according to, just what it looks like on paper, how it may be looking, the outlook of the season for these teams. But we try to pick it maybe that Wednesday, when the episodes air. That way we can pretty much have an outlook for that Saturday of how the schedule will go, when we picked this Louisville and Duke game, again, it looked great on paper, but when these two teams actually played this past Saturday, the score was not in our prediction.
At all.
Louisville beat Duke 23-0. And I, we are man enough to admit when we are in the wrong, and we were in the
Very
wrong.
much so. We thought we was gonna get Duke that beat Clemson. We thought we were gonna get the
Oh,
Duke that balled out. We thought we was gonna make some shake, but no, you know what I'm saying, But I will say Duke's quarterback, he's still dealing with injury from when he got hurt that Notre Dame game.
yeah,
I mean that's still no excuse. I mean I would imagine you put some kind of points on the board, but Louisville got the best of them. I mean that is plain as that. I mean
yeah,
it didn't pan out how we thought.
no,
I would rather not talk about blowouts, but it seems like, what I'm saying, a couple of these games that we talking about today were pretty much blowouts. But
mm.
you know what I'm saying, you just never know. You never know. You want to have a good game going in, but you know, injuries happen and then, some other teams just game plans better. Or they just more.
I don't even know how to explain what happened in Louisville, Kentucky on Saturday night because it's just almost like Jack Plumler said, "Okay, I know what to do," and just take over. Even though he didn't throw a single touchdown, it was really on the running game. I mean, the run
Yeah,
game was
when
unstoppable.
you can dominate it, the run, if you could dominate in them trenches like that, it's gonna be a long day for your defense.
Well, let me
If
tell
your
you something.
offense can't score either,
It
man.
it just it looked horrible
Yes,
to say the least.
it
It
had
looked
had me
horrible.
befuddled. It had me very befuddled.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was. It's just no words to explain
At
what
all.
what could have possibly tried to transpire. I mean, it's nothing. Nothing could possibly be said as to what happened in Louisville, Kentucky on Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I can tell
Yeah.
you one thing: the
Yeah.
penalties that Duke got, they got 10 penalties for 82 yards. That's a lot of it.
Yeah.
They couldn't get anything rolling on their
It's
side of the
one of
ball.
them days for them. It's just one of them days for them where just nothing went right. You know what I'm saying? They were messing up. Like it is. This didn't seem like they were there. Like it didn't seem like it almost seemed like they forgot that they had a football game that day.
It, it,
That's
it
that's
almost seemed like they got on the plane for Louisville, Kentucky.
he.
My goodness, because again, if you look at it, this team lost to Maryland, if I'm not mistaken, and they lost to. I'm sorry, they lost to Notre Dame.
Right. That's
They
the
lost
game
to
before the man got
FSU,
hurt. Yeah.
and then they just lost to Louisville. But if you think about it, the game from Clemson to Notre Dame, they played. I don't even know who the second team is. Northwestern, Connecticut. So three teams that they, of course, had to dominate against. So they really didn't face their first big challenge until that Notre Dame game after Clemson.
Yeah. Yeah. But essentially you want to ride high for that big win against Clemson, but
Yeah.
a lot has to go right for you
Mm-hmm.
to capitalize on that. First of all, health. Second of all, miscues. Got to keep those down to a minimum.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And execution.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if you got one of those out, it's hard to capitalize like that because if you got an injury to a big player, okay, that takes out, what I'm saying, the execution part because the big player was what's executing those plays.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then the miscues, once you get down, it's hard to get back in it. It's hard to get back in it. And
It's
then
tough.
it's tough, man. But
But it's just
yeah,
it's just it's just wild to see how Duke's quarterback. I mean, this man this man Leonard literally was riding off in the sunset after they beat Clemson. And I mean, it's almost just like because he had this he had this uh almost like superhero story. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
His mom writing that "you suck" wristband on him. You know what I'm saying? Which is it's great. It's great. I mean, I feel like every story has a every fairy tale story has a happy or sad ending. But it's
Right.
almost like this Duke team is missing a piece. I mean,
Right.
it's always that team that's just missing that simple piece that is needed to get them over that hump. And I don't know what it is with this Duke team though, because for
Well, I
them
mean,
to
you got recruiting. I mean,
yeah yeah
Duke is uh new to being
ranked
competitive at
yeah
football.
yeah
I mean, I'm not gonna say that they haven't had players or whatever, but they've always been known for basketball.
hmm
So the bulk of their recruits go where for basketball. So it's a new identity for them now. So I mean, it's fresh. It's a good start beating a team like Clemson. You know what I'm saying? So it's Duke is trying to establish a culture, establish an identity as a football team. It's same way other schools that are football schools try to do with basketball.
hmm
Like Alabama tried to do that with basketball. Auburn tried to do that with basketball. Georgia tried to do that with basketball with Anthony Edwards. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of schools try to do it. It's just, sometimes it's in the reverse. So
yeah
Duke is at that point now. They see what they have to do. They have to go out and get these recruits. Quarterback has to stay healthy. And if you have a quarterback go down, recruiting a backup quarterback
mm,
that is good as well.
right
So it's gotta happen in that. I mean, I don't think that it's gonna be overnight. Always. I mean, I think whenever you beat a big time school that you weren't supposed to beat, everybody wants to jump to conclusions like, oh, this team is gonna be this team is gonna be that. No, let's wait to see it out. I mean, they're healthy right now, so
hmm
you know we all know in any sport, the team that usually wins the championship is the one that either stays the most healthy or has the best players to back up the players that are not healthy. So, you know, I mean, that's what it boils down to. So, I mean, Duke is just trying to establish an identity, establish culture, trying to figure out, where they go from here. But they have a great launching point. So,
mm,
I think they're gonna be all right. So I mean, she's got to be patient. Like you said, they're missing one piece. Or maybe even a few pieces. But
yeah
you
yeah
know,
I
and
mean
then
but
they have to identify those in recruitment.
mm,
So
yeah yeah I agree. Again, Duke is new. Duke is very new to especially to being in the ranks. Um, which I think had a lot of people shocked, especially after that win after over Clemson.
right.
So it was yeah, definitely. So um again, hey, Louisville had to handle business. Jake Plumler, that run game was unstoppable, dude. 234
Right.
yards, 2 touchdowns. And of course, receiving, handling business. Uh, Shout out to Jamari Thrash, bro. I think that's just a cool name, Jamari Thrash. I love it. But yeah, so real like cut and dry with this
Yeah,
game. Louisville
very
handling
cut and dry
business.
game.
You said what?
Very cut and dry game.
Oh, I thought you said something else. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. You're right. I was like, hey, hold on now. I thought you was roasting over there. I was finna get on you. But
What?
anyway,
That's just bad.
Florida and Georgia. I'm sorry, Georgia and Florida. You
Oh, so you
know,
just had to put okay,
yeah,
okay.
because I
Put some
mean,
respect.
well,
I got you. I got you. I got you.
hey,
I got you.
Georgia, Florida.
Well, like as I said, we had a couple games that were blowouts.
But hear me out. Now, before the season started, there was a few games on Georgia's schedule that a lot of people really put question marks beside. With this game being one of them.
I mean, of course, because this is supposed to be a big rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
But at what point does it stop being a rivalry when one team dominates so long?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like Florida hasn't won in how I don't know how long. Florida has been up and down for the last few years. We don't know what we're gonna get, you know. So, I mean, the people, of course, they're gonna want to put because right now everybody wants Georgia to lose except Georgia fans.
Yeah.
Everybody wants Georgia to lose because they're the top dogs, which is understandable. Because when Bama was top dog, they wanted him to lose. USC was a top dog, they wanted them to lose. Ohio State, same thing. So whenever you're the top dog, you want everybody want to put that asterisk by your name. So, um, by Georgia Florida being such a big game and big rivalry, um, every year everybody always says, "Well, Florida's probably might beat Georgia this year. Florida might be, you know." But me personally, I feel like Georgia's gonna wipe the floor with Florida because Florida has way too many inconsistencies,
Mm-hmm.
and it being at a neutral site, which technically is not really neutral, but Georgia fans travel. So because Georgia fans travel, you know, they were able to pack the seats. So it's not like you playing away because you got a lot of fans in the seats.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, and then they have talent. Everybody thought that because Brock Bowers went down that Georgia wasn't going to do anything. But they forget they've had the top five or top recruiting class the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
So they always have a 5-star recruit waiting to replace that 5-star recruit if that 5-star recruit goes down. So you can't like in order to beat the best, you got to be dang near perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Just like whenever teams have upset, you know, Bama or whatever, they've been dang near perfect, and if they've made a mistake, they capitalize.
Right.
Florida just couldn't get it done. You know, I thought it was gonna be, you know, Georgia at least by 2, but I didn't think it was gonna be like they did. They opened it up, but
Yeah.
you know,
And I mean for Florida to strike first, I was like, okay, it's going to be one of those type of games. I was like, okay, the defense is going to wake up eventually, but when? Because on that first, you know, on the scoring drive that Florida scored on, I was just like, okay, they're moving the ball downfield. They're moving the ball downfield at a rate where we may not be able to stop them. Okay, they scored. Now what do we do? You know, so um, but as always, that defense just comes alive when they're needed most and when they have to step up, and
right,
it shows.
right,
So when you're putting when you're putting a team, especially like Florida, that definitely has quite a few weapons like Ricky Parcel, Eugene Wilson, Travis Etienne, Montreal Johnson. All these guys play a factor into
sure,
that Florida offense.
for
And
sure,
so when you have to not only have that defense literally on 10 the entire game, but you have so many offense threats on the opposite side of the ball, it takes a lot. It takes a lot.
yeah. Don't get me.
So
It does, it
yeah.
does, it does. But the thing people miss about Georgia's defense is very disciplined.
Hmm.
Even though this whole year they've had slow starts,
Hmm.
but they very, very disciplined to where they okay, they make a mistake, short memory, let's get it back right, right? They have a defense full of leaders. So you have a defense full of leaders, they're human. They mess up, you know what I'm saying? Florida is wanting to beat you. So their will that first drive was it was more about that than you know what I'm saying, than the lack of defense. It wasn't a lack of defense. It's just they wanted it more that drive. But the thing about what I've been noticing with Georgia's defense, even this year where they've let up more points than they have the last 2 years, they always bounce back. That is the number one thing. And in halftime, of course, Kirby Smart's infamous speeches or whatever he says, he figures it out. So he says, okay, because they're not doing anything special. So defense is okay, and then if you're a defense and your offense is playing good, as a defense, you want to be like, all right, well, shoot, they playing good, they putting up points. We got to make some stops because it's not going, because no side of the ball wants it to be their fault that they
Mm.
lost. So defense don't want to give up points. Offense want to, don't want you to stop them. So Georgia's like that. Like, defense say, oh, okay, Carson Beck handling business, you know what I'm saying? Without Bowers, we got to step up. Now, who's going to step up? And I feel like that's how they played. I mean, and that's how, their identity is, Like I said, they all year they've started off slow.
Mm.
Both sides of the ball has kind of that. Not I don't want to say struggle. I just think they just take a little bit longer to get going. When in past years, as soon as they cut the iron on, it's hot.
Right.
Now it just takes them a little bit to warm up. But when they get hot, watch out, because they figured out something. And whatever, if you playing zone, they done figured out that you playing zone, and they gonna pick you apart. Defense the same way. They
Mm.
figuring out what you trying to do. Okay, you trying to use running back on the swing plays in the flats and get them up top. Okay, well we know we got to answer for that. You
Mm.
know, so it's the same thing. So I think that Georgia figured out what Florida wanted to do pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So I mean, like I said, I wasn't surprised. I thought Georgia was gonna win this game by a pretty decent margin, but
Mm.
y'all, like I said, you always want to put that asterisk by the top dog.
Yeah.
So even if your season ain't going championship, just the fact that you can say we beat the number one team in the
Mm.
country. So
Yeah. And I mean, again, I've been a fan of Ricky Parcel and Trevor Etienne for a while. Especially with another Etienne being in that other league that of the pros. We don't speak on
right,
too much pros on the college couch, but you really watch these guys and you're like, okay, they're gonna make an impact. So I even as a Florida hater, I still have a lot of respect for the uh the offensive threats as well as defensive threats that Florida has, because those guys can ball. They can
right,
definitely ball.
right.
But on the other side of things, listen, no Brock, no problem. I mean, Lad McConkey came in, showed out. Oscar Delp coming in and doing his thing. Dominique Lovett. But let me tell you something. I actually paid attention to not that I don't pay attention, but I've been watching a lot of Carson Beck's mechanics in his
Beautiful,
throwing, and
beautiful.
when you mentioned it a few weeks back, I really didn't look into it like how I did this past Saturday. And man, he
It's
did it. So crazy enough, he actually did a sit down interview with Tim Tebow, and him and Tim went onto the indoor practice facility. And Tim asked him, he was like, so just give me a little walkthrough of how you go into your motion and your drop back and your throw motion. Carson literally said, I mean, it's not much to it. Of course, all of the momentum is, he said all his momentum is really coming from the ground. As soon as he goes into his drop back, feet literally, I mean, he said my feet just drive into the ground, hips come up, and I just throw it. I was like, if it was that simple, don't you think half of these FBS quarterbacks could do the same thing? The
my
man
brother.
just explained it like it was just the most simple math problem.
I'm gonna tell you this: that part of football for a quarterback is that simple.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Because every quarterback is taught, you know what I'm saying, to, do your plant your feet,
Yeah.
square your hips, you know what I'm saying, and you know, do what you do to get your power and all of this type of stuff, right? But do they all do it?
Mm.
No, because you gotta think quarterback position. Like a lot of debates have been going around about what's the hardest position in football. I think the quarterback position is the most mentally demanding position on the field. Why? Because you literally have to know what everybody's doing at one time, right? As well as knowing that you have to get your feet set and deliver a pretty ball so that your receiver can catch it, right?
Mm.
So with all of that, you know what I'm saying? You still, like I just said, you still have to sit there and do what he just said, right?
Mm.
That is where the difficulty lies.
Right.
Because it's as simple as that. What he just said is he literally explained it verbatim. That is very simple. But he has the mentality of, okay, I know where everybody's supposed to be at. I know where I'm trying to go with this ball. Let me sit back, you know, and do that. That's
Mm.
it, you know. But a lot of other quarterbacks, or a lot of quarterbacks, what they typically do, they, you know, they're worried about the zone. They worry about what a defender's gonna be, the this, that, and the third. Instead of sitting back, you know, knowing the play you're running, reading the defense, sitting back, planting your feet, and making the play. You know what I like with Carson Beck, he does not second guess,
Mm.
which is very, very important, because the second you second guess, that's when interceptions happen, because you're a split second off,
Mm.
or you know what I'm saying, you throw it, you threw it just a little bit too late, or you threw it just a little bit too early. When he sees it, he makes the play, he makes the
Mm.
read. You know, I've seen him do that. Like the main game that I saw him do it, because the main game that I saw him have the most trouble was the Auburn game. You know, because that, to me, that was the closest game that they played to this point. Um, but the fact how calm and how poised he was, he dropped back and got it. He got in his drop back every time, unless he was getting sacked.
Mm.
But if he was upright, he was looking downfield in his motion, in his stance, and delivering a pretty ball. And all the ball, even the bad ball, the balls that were maybe not in the vicinity, they still were pretty,
Mm.
because you know he had that motion. But like I said, it's with quarterbacks. It's between the ears. I think that's one of his strengths. He's calm. I haven't seen him get rattled
Mm.
yet. So yeah, but like you said, like I just wanted to piggyback off of that to say that
Yeah.
it is
I
that
mean,
simple.
it is kind of, it's very interesting that not a lot of talk has been surrounding him as far as mentions of Heisman. Now, is he of the same caliber of, Caleb Williams? In my opinion, no. Can he
Well,
be? Yes. Can
I
he
mean,
be? Absolutely.
I could disagree, because I think he is on that level. The
Mm.
only difference to me is they just don't have the weapons that he has. You know, he's got
Okay.
he had think about it, from tight ends to receivers across the board. Sorry, could you say that again? Okay, all right. See,
Oh wow.
Cyrus trying to get
Oh
involved,
wow. She's trying to get on.
but
She's trying to
but
get on the college couch.
but across the board, he has receivers
Mm.
from the first string, the second string, third string, fourth string, tight
Mm.
ends. The running back room is deep.
Mm.
His defense, is great. So the difference between him and them is not the talent. I think he's just as good as them, in my
Mm.
opinion. I just think that he has more weapons. And when you have more weapons, start to look at it's like, oh, well, is it you or is it them? You know what I'm saying? Michael Penix, don't get me wrong, he's got some good receivers up there, but they're not on the level as the Georgia receivers are,
They're
in
not a
my
Brock
opinion.
Bowers or a Lad McConkey.
Right, right.
Right.
So anytime you can get bailed out by somebody like a Brock Bowers, because people are arguing that Brock Bowers should be in the Heisman conversation. You know what I'm saying? If it wasn't for his injury, I
Hmm.
think he would have been in there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to put somebody a quarterback in the Heisman conversation when they're throwing to a Heisman candidate. Because if that was the case, then Mac Jones should have won it over shoot uh that year the Bama receiver won Devontae
Oh,
Smith. Yeah, Mac
yeah,
Jones should have won
yeah,
if that was the case. But Devontae Smith was a beast.
yeah.
So it's kind of hard to put a quarterback in the Heisman conversation when they have so many weapons.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong. My opinion, he deserves all the credibility that a Bo Nix does, or Michael Penix does, or Caleb Williams does,
Mm.
just off of this year alone. You know what I'm saying? Because he has the mechanics, he has the yards, he has everything that you want. He's done it.
Mm.
And I'm an avid Auburn fan, and I'm not a Georgia fan at all. But I call it like I see it. I know players. I
Yeah.
know talent. So I think he should be in that conversation, just like
Mm.
I thought Brock Bowers should be in that conversation. You know, but that to me is why he's not in the conversation, because he has
Yeah.
a lot of weapons. So
And he probably will next year, if anything. It's
I
really
think he'll start off as one but
yeah.
like I said, he has all those weapons.
Mm.
So because if you want to think about it, you know last year Stetson Bennett, put up
Yeah.
crazy numbers, and he still wasn't, I considered in the top for the
Mm.
Heisman.
Yeah.
So it's kind of one of those things like when you like, for instance, I tell you like just like this, Michael Penix and Caleb Williams and Bo Nix. If it wasn't for those guys,
Mm.
those teams probably wouldn't be where they are. Not trying to take anything from Carson Beck, but if you put his backup in, I personally believe they will still be in the position that they are in, just because of the talent that they have.
Mm.
The other players, I think Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders should be in there. I think he should be in there just because without him, that team doesn't really do as much. Even though he has a lot of talent around him, they've shown that without him, it don't work.
Right.
You know, because it's like last game, he was running around, he got sacked and hit all them times and couldn't really get nothing going. And what did they do? They struggled. So that's the same concept with all these other teams. So I think that would be why he wouldn't get the nod.
Mm.
But that's just my opinion.
Yeah. I got you. I got you. And again, this Georgia Florida game was definitely one that I think a lot of people already pretty much saw, like, hey, kind of know how this game. But Florida did kind of give a little shock when they scored first, and but hey, I think we might as well go ahead and kind of preview next week before we go into our next topic. So of course Georgia Missouri play next week, as well as Alabama LSU. Um, I really put a statement out a few weeks ago. I love doubling down. I'm really confident that LSU might have Alabama's number this year. I really truly think so.
It depends on which team we get. Like,
Yes,
which Bama do we get and which LSU do we get?
one
Do
hundred
we
percent.
get do we get the Bama that has been showing up the
Mm-hmm.
last few weeks, or do we get the Bama that starts pretty decently but can't finish?
Yeah,
And then as far as LSU, do we get the LSU that starts fast, can't finish? Or
yeah,
do we get the LSU that we've been seeing the last few weeks that keeps the foot on the gas? Or do we get the LSU that starts slow? Because we've
yeah.
seen LSU start slow, we've seen LSU start fast, we've seen LSU sustain, you
Mm-hmm.
know? So the only reason why I think that LSU may not win is because their defense is still not top
Mm-hmm.
tier.
Right.
And Milrow is actually getting his footing now. So he's getting more confident,
Mhm.
and the offense is thriving with him in it.
Right.
They're not as dominant. By no means are they as dominant as they once were, but with him in that game and him getting his confidence, and the coaches instilling it in, and Nick Saban ain't taking no mess at all no more.
Mhm.
So with and Bama knowing that the only thing they have to fight for now is SEC championship, and if they get to that and they so happen to win that, they can reinstate their claim for a championship. So if they're knowing that this game in itself may decide whether they go to the championship or not, you know. So I personally think it's gonna be a good game. I think it could go either way. Just depends on because the good thing about Bama's defense is not bad. They're not bad, and they're used to playing in practice against a scrambling quarterback.
Mhm.
So which has not been the case the last forever of what I'm saying Bama outside of Bryce Young. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, we'll see. We'll see
Yeah.
how it goes. I think it's gonna be a really good game. I can't really say which way it's gonna go, because I think both of these teams have question marks. LSU has shown more dominance, a little bit
Mhm.
more dominance than Bama, but I think they both have question marks. Like, can you sustain? Because if I'm gonna be honest with it, if LSU's quarterback takes another big hit, I don't know if he can come back from that. I don't know, but he's tough as
Jaden,
nails. But he's been taking some
yeah,
hits this
Jaden,
year.
Jaden has taken some hits, and it's crazy enough. I mean, it's really hit or miss because I mean he's very elusive. So
Right,
sometimes he can get out of a situation, and sometimes he's just like, you know what, open season. I'm
right.
gonna take the hit.
He try
I'm
to
gonna
make it
take the
try to
hit.
extend the play too long, man. Because
Yeah.
one thing about Bama, I don't care how good you think they are, or not them jokers is gonna hit.
Right.
I,
Right.
that's even in the game that they lost when they lost to Texas.
Yeah.
When they lost to Texas, the defense was hitting. Oh
Yeah.
my god!
Mm-hmm.
I mean, don't give me and even in that Texas game, I just think Texas just wanted it more that game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Bama played bad because Milroe still did his thing. They just didn't. Texas just wanted it more because last year, Bama beat them in their house, and you know what I'm saying. So, I mean, it's a lot more that goes into football than just X's and O's, man.
Yes.
Sometimes just your pride, just like you don't want to lose to this team again, or you don't, what I'm saying, or just like with certain rivalries, like like you just never know what you're gonna get. It's just right now, like sometimes a team can be so invested in the rivalry that they just refuse to back down, you know. And I've seen us being Georgia Auburn fan, we've
Mm-hmm.
seen how that could happen. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So and so I think it'll be a good game. I think it'll be interesting. I just don't know which way it's gonna go. To be honest,
Right.
I'm just being
Got
honest.
you. Yeah.
'Cause
Well, we'll
I think
see.
Bama's at home this year, or they're at Death Valley.
To my knowledge, yes. I can tell you right now. It will be. Hold on. I got you. I got you. It shall. I think so. I want to say it is.
'Cause I can't remember. I mean, I watched the game last year when LSU beat them in overtime and everything, but I couldn't remember if
Yeah.
it was at Bama
It's.
or not.
It is at. Uh, oh, it's at Brian Denny. It's at Brian Denny.
So
Yeah.
it's
So
gonna, it's gonna be interesting.
it's definitely, yeah. But I mean, regardless, it should be interesting. I mean, whether it be in Tiger Stadium or whether it be at you know, Death Valley or Tuscaloosa. I mean, I feel like it'll be an interesting game. So
It's just, the
no,
only reason I ask that is just because when you're at home,
mm,
it's just different.
yeah,
Like it's
yeah,
like for one, it's a rivalry. For two, you at home. You ain't
mm,
trying to let your rival. You know what I'm saying? And this Bama team already has a chip on his shoulder.
Right.
because everybody's been talking down about them, how they ain't the team, they ain't it, they don't got no heart. They I'm like, y'all lost one game. So y'all can still save y'all season.
Mm-hmm.
And the team that y'all lost to was a solid Texas team. That had bad taste in their mouth from last year. So all you gotta do is win out. I mean, I hope you don't win out because I gotta see y'all at the end of the year. But you know what I'm
Hey.
saying. So I mean, I think it's gonna be if Bama has any pride about themselves, they will come out and give it their all and make LSU work.
Mm-hmm.
I want what you want to do. You want Jaden Daniels to beat you.
Mm-hmm.
That's who you want to because he's gonna have to do so much. If he has to beat you, he's got to do so much.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And we've seen when he has to do a lot. You know what I'm saying? It's sometimes because like he got hurt when he had to do a lot, and they almost lost to who was that, Missouri? When they
Mm-hmm.
played and it was like 40 something or whatever. They won by like a touchdown or two or something like that at the very end. You know, so
Yeah.
I just say they wear them jokers down. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Bama has the talent. You
Yeah.
know, like LSU has the talent. It's just a matter of who's gonna show up.
Yeah, and I think the same is to Georgia and Missouri as well. I mean, we seen what Missouri almost did to Georgia last year, which had I think every Georgia fan pretty much literally like
I
underneath a security blanket because
The
it
world was shook.
oh yeah, it was getting like, okay, what is happening and why, like how, like there were the five W's: where, when, why, and of course that one H, how. You know what I'm saying? Like it definitely was an eye opener for Georgia
Right.
because of course they were on that streak, especially with the SEC wins, but also they were undefeated, and so they were definitely getting a test, unexpected one at that, because
Right.
everybody thought they were just gonna go into Mizzou and just handle business and head home. But no, Mizzou said, "Okay, you're not getting out of here as easy as you think you are,"
Right.
and
Right.
that's when the legendary comeback occurred, and they had to handle business.
You,
So
you just don't know, man. Like that's
yeah,
the beauty of college sports in general.
hmm
You didn't air any given day, anytime
yeah,
you step on that field, especially.
hmm
I just want to reiterate this because people seem to forget when you are the number one team, everybody wants your head. I don't care if it's daggone high school team you playing
hmm
against. You number one, they want to be the team that says, hey, we might not be able to compete for a championship, but guess what? We beat the number one team in the world and may have spoiled their championship dream.
yeah,
Everybody. Everybody they play against they're gonna get their best foot. So Georgia cannot take anybody lightly. You got to play. It's almost to the point when you're a number one team, you have to play every game like it's a national championship.
hmm
Because if you don't, that could cost you the national championship.
hmm
So to me, Georgia shouldn't have any problems until like they shouldn't have any problem until maybe the SEC championship because they have to either see Bama or they have to see LSU. And I think LSU could give them the most problems, in my opinion, just because you know Jaden Daniels what he can do. But I just think that they just have to play They have to be dominant, like because even if they lose a game, it's still gonna be hard to keep them out of the playoffs. You know, the only way you can keep them out of the playoffs is if everybody else wins out. We know that's not gonna happen because Michigan has to play Ohio State.
yep,
So it's gonna be tough. You know what I'm saying? So it's and I mean, we'll see. But
yeah,
they have to come in and they have to continue to be dominant. I mean, can't let any days off because you see
hmm
when they almost slept on Auburn, they almost let up. One for that big man Brock Bowers.
I'm telling you,
It
I'm
might be we
telling
might be having a whole different conversation. Like, can this team pull it off again? But they find a way to make it happen. So
you,
I mean, they're not as dominant as we are accustomed to for the
Mm.
last 2 years, but they're still good. Like I mean, they're still good. Like you don't have to beat a team every time you go out by 50 to be, you know what I'm saying, a great team.
Yeah, yeah,
Cause like
for
I said,
sure.
you get everybody's best foot, so they're gonna, you know what I'm saying, like South Carolina. Okay, y'all beat them, you know what I'm saying. Y'all didn't beat them by a whole lot, but South Carolina gave you they all to the very end. I mean,
Mm.
y'all talent just, saved y'all with that one. So it's like you can't sleep at all. It's
Yeah,
no time for that. Like
yeah,
it's the especially now, because
mm.
it's hard to climb that ladder once you go back down right now.
Yeah.
They
Agreed,
always
agreed.
lose early. If you're gonna lose, I'd rather you lose early. Lose that second, third game. Cause like right now, like I just said, Bama lost early, but they still have a chance to, get
Mm.
back right. So,
Yeah, agreed, agreed. Well, listen, definitely expect a lot of shakeup to happen on this upcoming Saturday with both teams playing for a potential spot at the SEC championship coming in December. Um, yeah, it's gonna be a very great Saturday for fans of SEC football as well as fans of all respective schools that are um included in that little rap discussion. But let's hit on our final topic real quick before we wrap. IO
go on say it. Go on say it. Go on say it. How you gonna say
Iowa.
it? Okay. All right. All right. All right.
I was Iowa's offensive coordinator, right? Brian Ferentz, son of longtime coach Kurt Ferentz, um, won't be returning in the 2024 season. For those that may be asking, but isn't Iowa doing okay this season? Okay, yeah, they may be doing okay this season, but they're second in the West, under Minnesota. But the reason being, they've been having some offensive struggles, not only this season, but apparently for the last few seasons. Now, if you think about it, they're well below a 25 points per game provision that was in Ferris's contract. This is the Sun. Also, they rank 118th nationally in scoring offense at 19.5 points. Not only that, they're last nationally in yards per game at 232.4 yards a game. And then that's second, that's worse, right behind Eastern Michigan at 258.
So yeah, it's
And
about time to get
but
up out of there.
but but hear me out. The last thing is they've also faced some significant injuries with losing their starting quarterback as well as their tight ends.
Well,
So,
well, yeah, I always say, you have to have the personnel to
right.
execute the offense. But
But how your dad
That should be changing from year to year.
Yeah,
So
but
if
I just want to
last
know how
year
your
they,
dad fired you though.
huh?
Your dad is the one that kicked. I'm not gonna say that his dad kicked him off, but his dad is the head coach.
So you mean to tell what better person to critique you?
Yeah. No,
You mean to
agreed.
tell me? You
Agreed.
mean to tell me? Okay, since we talk about dad, and son on the same team, you mean to tell me if Shador Sanders threw 4 interceptions, 5 interceptions, and had a bad game, you don't think Dion gonna get on that man and say, "Hey, bro, man, you slipping? Like,
Oh,
what's going
agreed.
on?"
One
So,
hundred
so,
percent.
so,
Yeah.
so, so, if as a coach, because as a
Mm-hmm.
coach, you have a short leash, right? And you already have a short leash because your dad's the coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
You are last in every category that you're supposed to be good at,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, as a parent or as a coach in general, I can't, I can't just because you're family, just because you're my kid, I can't I can't risk the program
Mm-hmm.
for you
Right.
because it's bigger than because if it had been any other coach on the staff, they'd have been gone like that. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? I have to treat you if you're gonna be on my staff. I have to treat you like any other staff member. Yes, you have my last name. That's how you got this job or whatever. But you have to be good at your job. Because if he was number one in every category or even top 20 in that
We wouldn't be
category,
having this
we wouldn't
conversation.
have this
Yeah.
conversation. Because it wouldn't be because you've shown to me that you can do that,
Mm-hmm.
right? But if you are last in every category, like the fact that you are even in the bottom two of what you're supposed to be good at, you gotta go. You gotta go. I mean, I'm just being honest. Like if you can blame it on the personnel or anything, but okay, your personnel could be hurt, but you in the last, you in the like you not even in top 50, not top 75. So that means I was a big school. So you're telling me I'm below the small schools? You know, no, 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 no. I mean, yes, you have great competition. Yeah, okay, cool. But we also got good recruits because I will always been, a pretty decent team. I mean, they
Mm-hmm.
haven't, made national noise as far as getting in the playoffs and stuff like that. But you know, I wonder why. If
Yeah.
you can't score the ball, you score 19 points, you ain't gonna win too many games that play. This ain't back in the day where you can win a game 9-3.
Yeah.
No, offenses are more explosive now.
Yeah.
Offenses are taking shots down the field. Offenses are creating space with the run. Offenses are using running backs as receivers. Offenses are doing
Mm-hmm.
so much more. So if you're not executing with your job, that's with anything. That's even outside of sports. If you go to your job today and you perform and you underperform,
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna say, "Hey, man, last 3 years you just haven't gotten any better.
Yeah.
We got to let you go. You know what I'm saying? Or, we got to figure something out. You know what I'm saying? So, or another position might be suited best for you,
Mm-hmm.
or you just got to leave the program altogether. So,
Agreed.
I,
And I
I,
mean,
I'm not mad at that. If you're at
yeah.
the bottom, if you below Eastern Michigan and you are Iowa,
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man. Like,
And
come
I
on.
mean, his dad has been there since 1999, and he also stated, "I've been here for 34 years, two different times, and I've never witnessed a coordinator being relieved of their duties." If you don't think somebody is getting the job done, then yeah, you have to just maybe it's time to move on or whatever. Try to evaluate your people. That's part of your job. We haven't had much turnover here. End quote.
This is college football, sports in general. It's a business.
Yeah.
It's a results based business.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, you don't have to win the championship every year.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's that's everyone's standard. Everyone wants to get to that level. But if you can compete and say, okay, I had the number 5 offense in the country. I had the number 3 defense in the country. We just didn't get denied because let's be real, um uh the rankings are not based off of your win, like
Mm-hmm.
how if you're undefeated or anything like that. It's based off who you play.
Right.
So you can control maybe one or two teams that you play because your conference is your conference. So if you know you already got that against you, you can at least be dominant in your conference and play great in your conference. Because it's like, for prime example, Ole Miss hasn't competed for a championship, but
Mm-hmm.
they've always been in the top in the top conversation for like the offense, and their defense has done good things, just like other teams. Like Florida at one point was dominant in offense and defense and this that and third at one point in their tenure. The last few years they were good at certain things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, no, every game is going to be different. You can have, like, prime example, just like you said last year, the national champions struggled against Missouri. It's a different game. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? But that can't be your identity. You know, so if your identity is losing one, then some changes got to be made.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just like with anybody. Like Colorado won one game last year, couldn't do anything. So they said, okay, well, let's go get another coach. Let's go get Dion. Now they're not performing to maybe Dion standards. They're not getting a championship, but they've already won 4 games.
Yeah.
So, 4 games. So if they won 4 games, they're 4-4. Last year they won 1 game. That's progress. Their offense is in the top tier when it comes to yardage and things like that. That's progress. So he has to make progress. You don't
Yeah.
have to be the number 1 team to have progress. Are you better than what you were last year? Are you at least at a competing level? If not, then you gotta go.
Yeah.
You
Agreed.
know,
Agreed.
you get. I like to say you get 1 to 2 years in
Mm.
college sport. After that second year, if you ain't figured it out, you gone.
Right.
Prime
Yeah.
example, Auburn with Harsin. First year, grace period. Second year, you did the same thing, probably worse. You gotta go. Gus Malzahn, had he not did what he did that first year, okay, he did okay. Second year, he did a little better. He took him to a national championship. His saving grace that he could beat Bama every other year. Boom. Progress. Same thing with anybody. You know what I'm saying? Everybody just wants to see results. Are
Mm.
you getting better? Okay, you want this quarterback, you want this. Okay, you got that. Now what are you doing?
Right.
So
Yeah. Hey, Pastor Stackz, ladies and gentlemen. He just gave us that word and the benediction, and now we finna go the the fellowship hall lunch with the one chicken leg and the one roll and some potato salad. But listen, it's been it's been
that joker said one roll of potato salad.
one roll and a potato salad, man, and 1 cup of unstirred lemonade. But anyway, this has been there's been another great episode of the College Couch. Listen, thank y'all so much for y'all support as always. We love y'all. We cannot do this without y'all. Hey, what more can I say? Y'all have been rocking with us for now 8 episodes. 8. We're on our 8th episode, and I mean we're just constantly growing and putting out more and more content by the day, and we can't do it without y'all. Talk to me, Stackz.
Hey, appreciate y'all stopping by the College Couch, sitting with us for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, let us know what y'all want to hear. What y'all want us to talk about. Who's doing what college is doing their thing. Who's not getting the credit they deserve. Who's not getting the shine that they deserve. Let us know. Comment, share, listen, talk to us. Hey, it's College House. We here. Hey, we got bills to pay. We gonna get up out of here, man. Wake up, I gotta go get it. Wake up, I gotta